Prague, the Czech capital, is a city known for its historical sites like the Charles Bridge, Prague Castle, and that weird tower crawling with babies. Right in the middle of Europe, it has been populated and visited for centuries by people who have enjoyed its continental European seasons and love of culture. One of the monuments of Prague's love for culture is represented in the Czech National Theatre, which was built in 1883. The theater was built to create a home for Czech language and theater while the country was under Austrian rule. To fund the creation of the theater, advocates collected money from people across the country, mastering crowdfunding long before it was cool. This makes it a powerful symbol of the country's past and its people's quest for a unique identity. Today, the theater is made up of the historical National Theater, as well as the new stage, which sits directly next to it. These buildings present unique energy use demands as they require both heating for those cold Czech winters, but cooling as well. When you have a theater like the Czech National Theater, which is often sold out, you also need to have some cooling to regulate the room temperature. No one wants to be sweaty in their ball gowns and tuxedos. And while the building may be from the 19th century, its heating and cooling system isn't. In 2009, during a big reconstruction, the National Theater saw there was an opportunity to reimagine heating and cooling using the Vltava River. That system today is overseen by Mr. Jan Mika.
So my name is Jan Mika and I'm Deputy Director of Building Maintenance of the National Theatre. My predecessor, Mr. Ružička, came to the theatre. He designed with some other people options to make energy savings. And it was, for example, installation of a heat pump, installation of a photovoltaic power plant on the roof or roofs of the National Theatre buildings, heat recovery system in ventilation, and other options.
So the system is made up of 3 heat pumps, 2 larger and 1 smaller, as well as a chiller which is used for cooling. The larger ones utilize water from the Vltava and increase the water's temperature to warm the theater. The smaller one extracts heat from the oil used for the stage's hydraulic system. Before the installation of the small heat pump, potable drinking water was still used. But despite the common myth, this is not the reason beer is still cheaper than water in the Czech Republic.
It was approximately about 20,000 cubic meters per year, so it was a lot of water.
And the larger heat pumps are actually able to produce a significant amount of heat, making the use of the old gas boilers almost non-existent.
We can use the big heat pump, the Carrier one, with the heating power around 1.4 megawatts and cooling power about 1 megawatt.
Even though the system relies on the temperature of the Vltava, which fluctuates, they are able to use the heat pump system as long as the temperature of the river is 6 degrees Celsius or higher. But the heat pump isn't just for the winter months. It can also be used for cooling. That's at least until the city can figure out a way to power the theater using the labor of tourists on paddle boats.
In a time from spring to autumn, we can use the heat pump for cooling. In total, in 10 years, this is approximately about 500,000 cubic meters of natural gas we can save with this technology.
That's a savings of hundreds of millions of euros for the theater, which means more money for operas, ballets, and Red Velvet. All of that gas saved is gas that isn't imported from abroad, especially in the light of the EU's attempts to reduce its gas consumption after the Russian invasion of Ukraine. Yet to do so, it required some upfront funding, a common challenge for many building owners when they want to modernize their energy systems. As a national cultural institution, most of the theater's financing comes from national and European funds.
The theatre is funded by the Ministry of Culture. Almost everything is paid by this ministry.
So unlike in the beginning when the theater used crowdfunding to build itself from the ground up, the theater can now rely on these public funds to help modernize itself. However, the theater takes great measures to keep its historical character intact.
The buildings of National Theatre is under the historical protection. So we cannot, for example, install the heat insulation of the on the facade of historical building, for example. So we are really limited in what we can do about the buildings itself.
Despite these challenges, engineers found ways to be ambitious and create energy-saving measures by looking at the resources they could alter, such as building heat pumps in the basement 5 stories underground, and using the roof to install solar panels. And this isn't all. They are continuously looking for new ways to improve their energy efficiency, and have also installed some measures in other theaters operated by the National Theatre, such as the State Opera. This example shows that innovations can be done in buildings, like historical landmarks, that seem hard to decarbonize. The Czech National Theatre can be an inspiration, as it shows that with a bit of creativity and tapping into the resources you already have, decarbonizing a building or a system can be done.